Hello, good people of YouTube. Sealord here, and today we are going over some announced changes that, if these changes go through, they're taking what is, from at least my experience, what I've seen in game, one of the least played, most unpopular, I guess you could say worst cruiser lines out there, and turning them into what is probably going to be one of the best line of light cruisers, and that is the Pan-Asian cruisers, on top of some other changes to some ships that for sure did need some love. So I am catching up here. This came out on Wednesday of last week, and it just kind of got set on the back burner for me. I had some other videos I wanted to make and some other topics I wanted to talk about instead, but here we are now playing catch up. So link to this is in the description down below if you want to read along as I read aloud. Make sure to check out that link. If you do find yourself enjoying this video, make sure to drop a like, leave a comment, and all that jazz. Helps on the YouTube side of things. But let's go ahead and get on into it. Again, if you want to read along as I read aloud, check out the link down below. So they say balance changes, public test 12.10. We're applying balance changes to the following ships based on an analysis of both their combat statistics as well as their player feedback: Austin, ZF6, Tashkent 39, as well as the Pan-Asian cruisers. The changes will be applied on the public test for update 12.10. So they start with the Austin. Main battery reload time reduced from 8 to 7.5 seconds. Main battery reload booster consumable reload time reduced 125 to 120 seconds. Now, the Austin out of the gate is a ship that I've always seen as a goofy ship, and it's really only a good ship, you know, when it's got that reload booster going. If you guys don't know, the reload booster on the Austin takes its reload time down by 75%, one of those. So it takes its 8-second reload time and makes it like a second and change. So now this 7.5-second reload time with that reload booster going, it's going to take that to like a 1-second reload before you apply things like the reload module and adrenaline rush, and like if you have Halsey on and then you pop Halsey on top of that, good lord, it's going to be a real sap hose at that point. And then they're taking the reload time of that main battery reload booster and making it even better, 120 seconds as well. So I mean, that's not a huge change there. You know, it cuts 5 seconds off of a 2 minutes and 5-second reload time for that. But then again, you know, you stack the flags and like the commander skill on top of that, and that does get down, of course, that much lower. Now, the Austin is a ship that you don't really see too much of in game. Like, it is a still ship, right? So it's already a pretty rare ship. But like Burgoyne's a still ship, and she's everywhere. But of course, like in other modes too, like COTS and clan battles and such, you don't really see Austins, and that, you know, goes to show their popularity, because ships that are powerful are popular and get played more. Now you might be saying, Sealord, where according to that graph that came out a little while ago, there were 8 Austins in COTS. There were 8 Austins in COTS, but we were 7 of them.
Myself to see how this plays. I don't think I've ever casted something like this before. Oh my god, that's a comp. On the TSIOF side, no battleships, 7 Austins, and 2 Sherman. They are bringing the SAP menace into this game here. They don't have radar. They don't really have spotting. They don't have speed. They don't have, you know, holding power. But you know what? They have 9 SAP ships.
Yeah, gave our streamer a little bit of a surprise there for that match. But anyway, so Austin changes. It's a goofy ship. Yeah, sure, because like when you don't have the reload booster going, an 8-second reload on those guns is pretty miserable. So that's a pretty good pickup there for the Austin. ZF6, a ship that was already pretty popular. She came out, I think, a little over a year now. Man, it just feels like the ZF6 came out like a couple of months ago, but I think it was a year, if not 2 years ago. Reload time being reduced 4 to 3.8 seconds. Good pickup there. And the 180 time, the turrets, massive pickup there, 18 to 10 seconds. Those are going to be some fast turrets. Now, I'm happy to see that ship's getting some love. It's already a good ship. Tashkent 39. How many of y'all have seen a Tashkent 39? I've seen like 2. I didn't even bother picking it up when it came out because I myself was that disinterested in it. And the day it came out, I went into battle and I think I saw 2. And after that, no more. So a 7-second buff to the reload time of the torpedoes. That's cool. It is a torpedo focused destroyer rather than a gun focused destroyer like the Tashkent. So obviously a 7-second buff to the reload is a pretty big pickup for her. Again, I don't have her, I haven't played her, so I can't really speak to how much that's going to improve her gameplay. But again, on a torpedo focused DD, a 7-second reload is a good thing. I'm sorry, a 7-second reload buff is a good thing. A 7-second reload would be insane, right? Alright, and then we get to the Pan-Asian cruisers. And pretty much across the board, a couple of things happen. First off, the reload times across the board were buffed by about half a second. Now you might be thinking, well, that doesn't sound like that much. But look, on a light cruiser, where most of these ships already have like a sub 7-second reload, a half a second reload buff is pretty significant, right? And again, that's on average. Some are a little bit more, some are less, but on average, it's about half a second reload buff. And then the range, again, across the board, was buffed by a kilometer for each one. Again, doesn't sound like a lot, but it most certainly is, especially when we're talking about light cruisers. And finally, the ballistics were changed. Now, what happened with the ballistics? From what I've heard, and the way I've heard it explained to me, and the way it was explained on stream, is that the the shell arcs are essentially going to be the Soviet shell arcs now, which is a very, very good thing. And the game you've been watching in the background, when I was roasting that Kremlin at the start of the match, you guys saw I was only firing from 12 kilometers away in the Jinan. 12 kilometers is nothing at tier 10, right? That's basically boarding range, right? And the time it was taking for those shells to get on target was insane, because the ships essentially had the American shell arcs, where, the guns fire, the shells go up into the atmosphere, they exit the stratosphere, and then they, catch a connecting flight and then come back down on the target. It takes them forever to get where they're going, which means that it can be exceptionally frustrating to try and hit anything out past 11, 12 kilometers, because it takes an eternity for the shells to get there, and the target has essentially all the time in the world to maneuver out from under the shells. Add to the frustration that these shells, like with the Jinan at tier 10, they pin 21 millimeters of armor base, which means with IFHE you're not getting over 32 millimeters of armor. You're not crossing that last major armor threshold. So you really need to be able to place your shells on like the superstructure of the ship. And having shells that are this floaty that takes so long to get to the target, that makes it a lot harder to do. So the ships have been, the Pan-Asian cruisers were really frustrating to play. They're light cruisers. They don't have any armor really, as you guys saw again at that early game barbecue I had on the Kremlin. The guy just guessed and he nuked like half of my HP, right? Like he didn't even lock onto my ship, he just nuked half of my HP because one of his shells found my citadel, right? So they're lightly armored cruisers. They have extremely frustrating shell arcs. The shells are really floaty. They don't get anything, like the Jinan, for example, doesn't get any type of detection equipment like a lot of the other light cruisers do. She gets DFAA. That's it. No choice of DFAA or Hydro, which most tier 10 light cruisers will get one or the other at this point in this game. Doesn't get any of that, right? And that's pretty standard up and down the line. So yeah, now they do get smokescreen, and yes, if you're in a good spot with a smoke or behind an island, you can farm down ships pretty easily, but I don't think there's a lot of players that, are going to be upset by the fact that the shell arcs are becoming much flatter. So flatter shell arcs, of course, means that you won't be having to deal with these, suborbital shells. Now the shells would be like the Soviet light cruisers, like the Smolensk, where they're very flat arcs, they're very comfortable to shoot out past 13, 14, 15 kilometers. They didn't say whether or not, and I don't think they're going to get like the Soviet air drag coefficient and stuff, where the shells will essentially, zip through the air like the air is not even there. Believe it or not, all that stuff is in this game, like air drag and everything. That's a part of this game. This game got some pretty deep, crevasses if you want to fall down that into like the game's mechanics and stuff, believe it or not. I don't think they're going to get that, because that would be a little crazy. And if they do, my god, these are the new best light cruisers in the game, right? But the flat shell arcs are definitely going to help, right? Because that means you're going to be able to deal with DDs a hell of a lot easier. These ships already, were pretty good with dealing with DDs, but now you can deal with them even easier and at more range. You're going to be able to ensure that those shells hit the superstructure or the parts of the ship that your HE shells can pin that much easier. So all in all, this is a massive buff to the Pan-Asian line, and a line that I think most certainly did need it, because I don't see these ships in game like at all. I can't remember the last time I've seen like a Chumphon in game, right? And it was on stream like 2 weeks ago. The Jinan is good. I do think the Jinan itself is a pretty darn good light cruiser. It's just getting there. It is a bit of a pain. Like the Chungking, the Ramont, the Chumphon, the Harbin, I did not like those at all. Now, granted, I don't have a huge amount of time in light cruisers, but just judging by the amount of time I see those ships in game, yeah, I don't think they're that popular. And this is absolutely what wargaming does. They take a look at what players are playing, and then they take a look at what players are not playing. And if players are not playing a certain ship or a certain line, they will buff it to make it more popular. That is absolutely one of their strategies, right? If there's a lower amount of these ships being played than what they want, they'll change it to ensure that it's being played. So this is one of the effects of these ships not being played. They are now being buffed. So let me know what you guys think in the comments down below about these changes. I'm very excited. I do like the Jinan, and the fact that I'm not having to deal with these suborbital shells is a good thing in my mind. I'm going to be very happy. I'm going to play my Jinan a lot more after this. But again, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Ooh, tongue twister there, huh? Do you like these changes? Do you dislike these changes? What would you like to see changed instead? Again, just let me know all that good stuff down below. Hope you guys have a wonderful Tuesday, wonderful rest of your week. Hope to catch you guys in the next one.